welcome to a very, very cold monkey world today. We're down at the pavilions with the Bachelor boys today. As always, we'll give you a couple of minutes so everyone can join in. If you can hear me and if you can see me, send us some thumbs up, say hello to us, let us know that you're watching. So yeah, we know that you're hearing us loud and clear. We're going to have the Bachelor chimpanzees coming into the playroom behind us shortly, and we're going to talk all about chimpanzees today and about the homeschooling worksheet that we've put up. I think it went up last night, so give you a bit more information about that, and of course the amazing chimps that we have here at Monkey World. So yeah, say hello, let us know that you're here, send us your thumbs up, and then we know that we can get started and start telling you more about the guys here. Any questions that you have throughout the session, please do comment, let us know your questions, we'll answer as many as we can, as always. So yeah, focusing on the Bachelor boys, or chimpanzees in general today, so it's your time to ask all of your chimpy questions. But yeah, keep saying hello, let us know that you're here. Charlie's on the other side of the camera, so we'll see all of your lovely names coming in, and let me know that you're here.
Yeah, good morning guys, hope you're all doing really well. Yeah, I can see you're all coming now. Good morning Janice, good morning Jill, good morning Jojo, and there's lots of thumbs up as well. So hopefully you can hear Annie okay. Do let us know if you have any problems, because she is on, we're keeping social distance as we must. So we're keeping a little bit further away from her, so hopefully you can hear her okay. People are asking, how's Sammy? Are the boys all right? Yeah, they're all good. They've all just gone out for breakfast while the guys, the primate care staff, have been prepping this enclosure ready to come in this morning. So they'll be coming in just a few minutes. So we'll start our education session in just minutes. There's sort of 300 people on, and lots of stars coming on too. Thank you very much for everyone who is sending those. So what we'll do is we'll start talking about the chimps, and then when they come in, we will focus on them and show you them as they come in. Hope that's all right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Paula from Colby. Hazel wants to play, but she has to work. It's terrible, isn't it, being this grown up? You want to come work at Monkey World, we get to play all day. Good morning, Serena. Good morning, Teresa. Fantastic. Okay, Annie, I think we're ready to get going. Thanks for the stars. Lisa.
Lovely. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, thanks for letting us know that you can hear us loud and clear. It's quite echoey in here in the pavilion, so hopefully you should be able to hear me, but do let us know if you're having any problems. So yeah, we are talking chimpanzees this week. So as I said, I am at the Bachelor Chimpanzee Pavilion. So this is our group of 14 male chimps who all live together in this group. There are 54 chimps that live in 4 different groups across Monkey World, but we're going to see what these fab boys are up to today. As Charlie said, the keepers have prepped the playroom behind us. They've been out and about, had their breakfast already, but they're going to come back in shortly. And we've got some lovely strawberries and pears and seeds spread around, so hopefully...
Here they are coming now, actually.
Fabulous, here they come. So, who's coming over first? Who have we got? Is it Keto coming over? So, if you've seen our worksheet this week, we are asking you to design some chimpanzee enrichment. So we've got some different bits and pieces in here at the moment. We've got hammocks, we've got blankets. Yeah, of course.
There we go.
We have boxes, we have bottles. So we want you to have a little bit of a think about the different things that we use at Monkey World. Go onto our YouTube channel, watch the videos that our keepers and Charlie have put together before. It's very exciting coming into the playroom. There's lots of food. So we've got lovely Sammy over here. Was that very puffed up Sheamus?
That was Sheamus, yeah, telling us off. Ruth wants to know if Sheamus calmed down, if he's still very playful. He's still, yeah, such a muppet. So yeah, don't worry.
Sam's come over and grabbed some of the strawberries and pear that are right over here by the window. Lovely Sam. So people often ask how long chimpanzees live. So chimps generally will live in captivity into their 50s, maybe even to their 60s. In the wild, in Africa, where they live naturally, they maybe all live shorter lives because, of course, they don't have access to veterinary care like they do here at Monkey World, and of course they are threatened by human conflict, human interference with them. They're hunted for bushmeat, they're poached, they're hunted so the babies can be stolen for the entertainment industry, the pet trade. They're hunted as part of traditional medicine, so they maybe only live 30 to 40 years in the wild, but of course we dote on them and give them every bit of care that we can give them here at the park. So Sam, who was here a second ago, he's one of our older chimps at the park. This is Sheamus, who's the youngest chimp in this group.
Hi.
Hi, Sheamus.
Sheamus has never quite learned you can't groom through glass, so he always tries to groom.
So Sheamus is 21, which seems crazy to think that he's so grown up already. We've got a display.
Oh,
as well
very
now.
exciting.
And here comes Charlie as well.
Very good.
To display us. This is Turkish Charlie, who came to us from Turkey, as his name suggests, where he was used in film and TV, trained to be an actor and to perform, and lived a very lonely life before coming here to Monkey World, going into Sally's nursery group before graduating to be a bachelor boy. Sammy is one of the older boys in the group, so Sam's getting towards about 40 years old. We've got a handful of boys who are around the same sort of age. Buxom, Jester, Butch, Sammy and Jimmy are all in that kind of top category, around from about 37 to 39, some of them.
I think we looked at the Jester was the oldest boy. I think he was born in 81. Well, he's obviously the oldest that we know of because he was born at Windsor Safari Park.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of the other guys in this group were rescued from, were stolen from the wild as babies, so we don't know their exact age. But Jester is one of the oldest ones, born in 81.
So a lot of these guys, we were kind of doing our Bachelor Boy revision, and so many of these boys came from Spain. Mostly they were used as photographers' props, but there is also Paquito, who was kept as a pet in Spain. Charlie, as we've already mentioned, who was from Turkey, where he was trained to be an actor or performer. And Freddie, who was, as far as we know, was kept as a pet in Austria because he was found abandoned in a park when he was still really quite young, and he was very, very humanised when he came to the park. So he had definitely been spending that time in very close proximity to people. Chimpanzees don't come from Austria, so he had to get there somehow. But he's one of the more distinctive members, perhaps, of the group because he's got a few lighter patches of skin and hair, so he's quite an easy chap to pick out amongst the group. Everything's got a little bit quieter now after that initial kind of excitement coming in and finding all of the treats.
And as we're here watching them, telling them off, they were making sure we knew our place when we were watching them as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to pick on someone, eh, Sheamus?
Yeah. So, as I said, our worksheet this week is all about enrichment. So really want you to have a think about, when you're thinking about it, think about what maybe enriches your day or your life. At the moment in lockdown, we're all trying to come up with different ways to keep ourselves occupied, whether that's exercise, a Zoom call with family and friends, a bit of social enrichment, physical enrichment, maybe doing something inside your house. Perhaps you've set up an obstacle course on something inside your house so you can do exercise indoors while it's snowing or very, very cold instead of going outside. Are you making cakes and doing baking and things? Giving yourself, making some food that's a bit different and a treat for you. Think about, what do we do to make our day a bit more interesting, to stop ourselves from getting bored, and then maybe draw some comparisons over to what would we do to keep these guys happy. And we'd really love to see your designs and ideas for different enrichment, because you never know, you might come up with an idea that we want to use here at the park.
Absolutely. Should we talk about some of the guys we can see here?
Yeah, fabulous.
So who have we got down here?
So we've got, is this Gypsy down here?
Gypsy, yeah.
So Gypsy was actually born in an Israeli zoo. Some of you might be familiar with Hanania and Shamak, who are of course over in Hanania's group. And when they came over, also with Tico, who's no longer with us sadly, there was also Gypsy, who came from the Israeli zoo where the three boys had been taken to before they came over to Monkey World. The three boys, Hanania, Shamak and Tico, had been taken from the wild for the pet trade, whereas Gypsy had been born there. So we've got Buxom just hiding around the corner. It definitely came past a second ago. What he actually just found and picked up was a bit of hose enrichment, so a thin bit of hose, more like your kind of garden hose sort of length, that the keepers will stuff bits of food in. They might put peanut butter or something in there for them to find and dig out. My eyesight seems to be terrible this morning. So who's...
We've got Paquito here. It's Paquito, come to say hi.
He's a lovely boy. So Paquito came from Spain, where he was kept as a pet.
Hi.
Lovely, and he's got a strawberry. He's a good boy. So he was kept by a Spanish actor as a pet. And if you've seen the episode of Monkey Business where Jim and Alison go and actually see him, you can see that they're quite surprised to see just how big he is, and he's got his arms coming through these bars, and all these people would come around to visit him and see him, and he was a pretty big boy, and potentially even through bars would have been very dangerous, but he was just kept in this sort of shed on his own for years and years before he came to Monkey World. Since coming to the park, when he first arrived, he was agoraphobic. He hadn't ever been outside before. He'd always been kept in this confined space on his own. And I believe it was our lovely Spanish Charlie who actually really helped Paquito get over that fear of coming outside by playing with him and kind of playing those sorts of tag and chase games, getting him to follow him outside of the house and out into the big wide world of the outside enclosure. It's one of the things that we see time and time again, that it's when they get into these groups, when they're living with each other in these natural social groups, they do so much for each other in terms of the rehabilitation, finding these friends and these bonds. It's why we always talk about grooming. We love it when we see new chimps coming to Monkey World grooming each other, because it's a real sign that they're starting to make those bonds and friendships with each other.
Yeah, that's a really good point about enrichment, actually, isn't it? We're saying the things that people miss most in lockdown, spending time with our friends, our family, and that's so important for these guys as well, and chimpanzees. So often, I know, I've put my hat back on. Often in the illegal pet trade, these guys, well, nearly all the time, are kept on their own and don't spend time with others of their own kind. So it's... And one of the best things we can give them here at the park is a family and is others of their own kind.
Absolutely, and there's one of the things that I put on the worksheet about social enrichment, and one of my favourite kind of examples of one of the things that the team did here in recent years, and you've probably seen it if you've watched Monkey Life, is when they put the toy snake inside. They did it in both Hananya's enclosure and also in what was Cindy's group at that time, but of course it's Bart's group now. Because by putting that predator into the enclosure, the group then came together to solve the issue, to find out what it was, and to work together to protect each other and protect their home. So perhaps you can think of an idea that might get all of the chimps working in unison. See what you can come up with, because I'm just going to be so interested to see what ideas everyone comes up with. So please do send them in to us at education@monkeyworld.org, because we would love to see any and all designs and ideas that come up. So we've got Butch sat on the platform kind of further at the back, who's in the middle of the screen at the moment. So Butch, he came to us in 1989. He's one of our older boys. Quite distinguished chap in the group. He, like so many of these boys, was a photographer's prop in Spain. And of course that's why Monkey World first started, why Jim wanted to build the sanctuary here to provide a home for these chimpanzees who had all been taken from the wild, who had their families killed around them, smuggled over to Spain, where they just suffered horrific abuse. They were beaten, they were drugged, their teeth were knocked out of their mouths, so they would become docile and easy to pass around between people, and ultimately just people could make their money from them. I saw Kiko kind of go past earlier. We often talk about the guys being dressed up in human clothes and human shoes. And Kiko, for example, is one who came with real issues with his feet because he had actually been forced to wear roller skates as part of the draw for people to come over and interact with this baby chimp and have their photographs taken with him. And if you've been doing any of your other homeschooling courses, learning about, or just learning anything about adaptations about our chimps or other primates, you should remember that our guys here have an opposable big toe. So their feet are like a second pair of hands. It's one of the things that makes them so well adapted to climbing, being an arboreal animal, if you remember that word from our sessions as well. So arboreal meaning that they live more in the trees than on the ground. But if you imagine putting basically your hand inside your shoe, you know that because of your thumb it doesn't fit in easily. You have to kind of bend your thumb under the palm of your hand, and that's what was happening to these guys when their feet were being forced into shoes. They were having to walk around on top of their toes all day, so it's very, very uncomfortable. and very painful for them, and gave some of them long-term problems as well. I've been talking for a while, Charlie. Should we answer some?
Yeah, I was going to say, you've covered lots of bits and pieces. Okay.
Just start gabbling away, let us out my own voice.
So I'm going to go back and just try and find some of your questions. If I don't answer them, do just send them again. But let me just start going back. Bernadette wants to know how Buxom is doing. She sent stars as well, thank you.
Excellent. Buxom's doing really well. He's one of the higher ranking boys in the group. Yeah, he's doing fabulously. We had a bit of a drive-by from him earlier on. I think him and some of the other boys have kind of gone up into the back bedrooms, because of course, as you know, they've all got more private inside space as well as the playroom. But yeah, he's doing really well, thank you.
Anne-Marie said, Charlie used to wear clothes, didn't he? Has he got arthritis?
So Charlie did used to wear clothes, so if you've got our home education, if you're using our home education courses or use our teacher packs, there's some photos in there of Charlie wearing some clothes when he was made, when he was a performer in Turkey. Quite honestly, I don't know if he's got arthritis. I assume that these guys can get arthritis just like we can, but I'm not 100% sure about Charlie.
No, I don't. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's one of the ones that's on our joint ace, which is a supplement that's often on our wish list for the older guys to keep them, exactly what it says on the tin, keep their joints feeling ace. But I'm not sure if he is one of those ones, actually. How old is Charlie? Paula wants to know.
Oh, you're testing me now. Charlie is, oh, look at that, I've conveniently got his sign just above me. So we think he was born in 1993. So he's, about 27?
Good maths.
In fact, we know he was born in 93.
So he was captive born in America for the film industry. Poppy, who is 7, wants to know how can she be a keeper when she grows up?
Hi, Poppy, that's a fabulous question. So if you've ever watched Monkey Life or Monkey Business and seen our colleague Mike on there, he always used to tell me that if you wanted to know if you would make a good keeper or you'd enjoy being a keeper, try and look after animals if you can. Of course, you're only 7, so it's not going to be very easy to go and get a job looking after animals. But if you go and enjoy spending a very long, hard day with a broom and a bucket, cleaning up after these guys, and you want to keep going back and doing it, then you know you've got the right sort of personality for it. But if you can volunteer, perhaps when you're a bit older, maybe there's a cattery or a kennel or stables or something near you that you might be able to go and get a little bit of experience, and go to college and learn a bit about it. After you finish school and your GCSEs, you can do animal management courses, animal care courses that will give you the practical education you need to come and start looking after animals.
Absolutely. Very good. Ooh. Claudia, no, we won't breed these guys. We keep these are boys, so it'd be very difficult for us to breed in this group specifically, as there's no girls. But we keep our spaces for the chimps, unless in very rare circumstances for rescues. Sheamus is going to come and display us, guys. Get ready for this.
Comes.
Oh, very impressive.
That wasn't quite as big as I thought it was.
No, actually, it wasn't that impressive at all, was it, Sheamus? Let me go back through some of the questions. Helen, why does Charlie never seem to eat when the keepers throw scatter food in? Is he too nervous? I think he does eat, actually. I haven't seen that he doesn't. The keepers are really adept at throwing food far and wide, so everyone gets some. We also usually only feed the same kind of food in one feed, so that if we're giving out tasty strawberries and celery, all the high rankers don't just get the strawberries and leave the low rankers with the celery. We keep it the same, so they get the most. Some of our guys do get extras, so Charlie will get a few extras in the afternoon. If you go back and look at our video we put up with Hannah and Charlotte a little while ago about cooperative feeding, you'll see how we do that. But he does get food. He might just tell us he doesn't.
He maybe just doesn't rush in because he's not one of the higher ranking chimps in the group. He'll wait his turn.
Amber, do we accept volunteers?
We do accept volunteers because, of course, it's a very strange time being closed at the park at the moment. I've got a couple of people who I'm very much looking forward to getting into the park when we're open. Drop me an email, same email address, education@monkeyworld.org. Our volunteers don't work with the primates because it's only experienced primate keepers because, of course, these guys have a wealth of issues that they come with being rescued primates, so we like to make sure, because it's more fair for them, that they've only ever got a consistent team of caregivers that they see every single day, that they trust and know. But if you want to help us educate our visitors, help us out in the daily running of Monkey World out here in the park with the public, then yeah, drop me an email at education@monkeyworld.org and I can tell you more about it.
And that email's in the post as well. It's in the main caption of the post, so it's all up there for you too. Let me go back and through.
So Sheamus knows that lots of people have been asking about him, so he's sitting front and centre for you.
Cassie adopts Thelma. These in the walk-through sheltered area. No, Thelma's in Hananya's group, which is at the top of the park. This is in kind of the pavilions, which is what I think you mean by the walk-through. So it's like 3 enclosures all in one. How many padlocks are there in the park? Andy wants to know who sent 95 stars. Probably more than 95.
That could be like a guess how many sweets are in the jar.
Actually, that would be a good competition. We'll take entries for that. Laura wants to know, the Bachelors are happy and content group. Do they ever fall out? Have there ever been any major cuts?
So, like any group, not just of chimpanzees, but of primates, including us, it's not always happy families. There are moments when people have a bit of a squabble and a fallout, but generally they are a very happy, well-established group. Is Buxom just coming up? Someone asked about Buxom earlier.
Oh, he's not going to deign us with his presence for long, though. Buxom, hi! Hi, handsome!
In all of the groups there are close friendships and ones who maybe aren't as close with each other. I don't think there's been any serious fallouts in the Bachelors for years and years and years. Any kind of serious bits you would have seen on Monkey Life or Monkey Business. But yeah, the guys are well established and live day to day very happily with each other.
Yeah, there are always going to be times that they get cuts and bruises because they're just so strong and just so robust. But let me go back through.
And yeah, they've got much higher tolerance for a cut or a bruise or something than we do. They're much tougher, these guys, than we are.
Sorry, I'm just going back through for more questions.
Well, lots of reactions.
Thank you very much, guys. And thank you for everyone who's sending stars. So I'm not wanting to interrupt Annie when she's talking, but I am seeing them come through. Thank you.
No, it's fabulous, guys. We really appreciate it. Every little helps at the moment, being close to the public. So we really appreciate your support and sending the stars through. And so, thank you so much.
Someone's asked if we have an iPhone app. We don't have an app at the moment. We're just on the website, but we are looking at getting an app. And it's something, I think, on our to-do list that we're trying to look into actively. So if you have any information, do send it through. Bakito had a sore leg last time we visited. Is he better now? Yeah, nothing. I haven't seen any problems with him. As I say, they do get lots of cuts and scuffles at occasion, but chimps are incredibly stoic and tough, so they often are far more tough than we are, and they don't, what can look like quite a nasty cut for us actually is like a paper cut for these guys, but they don't tend to have very many of them.
No, it's like with although he's in the group next door with Bart having his insulin injections, the guys have to have a thicker, tougher needle to give Bart his daily insulin injections because their skin is much tougher than ours. Cuts or bruises, like we said, just doesn't have as much impact on them, perhaps as it does on us. And if they're in the wild, it'd be really, really important for them to not show vulnerability, particularly the boys who are either dominant or trying to move up the hierarchy, trying to get into a more dominant position. Don't want to show yourself to look weak or vulnerable. So they are, like Charlie said, really stoic and tough and just get on with it if they do have any injuries or illnesses.
Keith has asked a really interesting question. Do you think globalisation, internet knowledge, ecotourism, human enlightenment increasing, for example, has had a massive positive impact on primate exploitation as you've just described? And he says he's a bit older at 49 and school age. That's all right. This is open to everyone.
Homeschooling has no age.
Yeah.
So
I just think that's a really interesting one because I've just seen someone else saying that they want a monkey on the post. So I think this would be a really good way to address what social media and its role in climate exploitation at the moment. So
on the one hand, it's so much more unlikely that you're going to go to a European country and see someone touting a baby chimpanzee to have your photograph taken with, because there has been a shift in public perception about how we view the great apes particularly. But there is so much exploitation of primates still going on that we see in social media, whether it's Facebook pages about people's pet monkeys, or there's all sorts of these little short clips that people see, perhaps a young chimpanzee interacting with another wild animal, a baby tiger or a lion cub or something like that. When you watch them, when you like them, when you share them, it just perpetuates the idea that these are cute, cuddly animals and can lead to more and more people getting them as pets or engaging with them being used in entertainment. It's why we've got a fabulous infographic that I think is available on our Facebook page and Instagram to explain what you need to look out for. If you're seeing these images of primates and they're doing something that's unnatural, are they wearing clothes? Are they doing something that's typically human? Are they with a person? Are they not with their own kind? They're all red flags that should make us think that they are being neglected, they are being abused potentially, they're definitely in an unnatural situation.
Baby animals that aren't with their mother. Why? Why is that baby animal? If it's taken out of context, and reputable organisations you will find will tend to justify and tell you why that baby has to be hand-reared or has to be taken away from its mother, or why it's not with its mother anyway. If it doesn't tell you, it's generally not for a good purpose, and that baby has been taken away for exploitation and to get clickbait and likes. So just think through all those things as well.
Yeah, and I think as we said about kind of the great apes, we are perhaps all a little bit more trained now to, when we see a chimp or an orangutan, to question it more. But think about monkeys as well. You see so many videos of capuchins, of squirrel monkeys, of marmosets in domestic settings being kept as pets. If you see a video of somebody giving a marmoset a bath, it may look cute kind of on the outset, but again, just like Charlie said, they're often babies. Where's their mum? Why are they with people? If there is no explanation about why they are in that human setting, then yeah, please don't engage with them, please don't share them, because it is certainly, sadly, still a huge problem that we are dealing with, not just around the world, but here in the UK as well.
Yeah, I think it's always worth just, like Annie said, it's a red flag. Sometimes there will be a good explanation, but it is a red flag and it's worth investigating. So don't just share and like without having a good think about it first. Okay.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one. A long one. I've seen so many questions come in though as we've been doing it, so I'm just a bit concerned that we've missed some. So I'm going to try and scroll back.
Seamus is sliding down.
Seamus is thinking about it again.
Back for more.
He's making these windows dirty with all these displays, Seamus. We can't see through you as well now.
People often ask us about Sheamus quite a lot, because of course Sheamus was born at the park. One of the few chimps who has been born here. The girls are on contraception. We do use birth control to try and stop baby chimps and other primates being born at the park, because of course we're a rescue centre. I want to save space for those who we still need to rescue.
Okay, I'm going to go back up from the most recent comment upwards. So Beth wants to know, how is the campaign going here in the UK to stop them as pets? And I think someone else just asked about the public consultation, which ended on February the 6th. Yeah, we're hoping that is the last step, hopefully, before the law changes, to get primates banned as pets, the trade and sale of primates banned, unless you have a specialist keeper licence. So we're very, very hopeful that that's going to go ahead. Thank you very, very much for, I know so many of you did log on to that public consultation, did have your say, so that is appreciated as well. Of course, we will, thank you for the stars, Angela. We will, of course, let you know how that is going as well. As soon as we have any updates, that will be up and running too. Thank you for the stars, Becky. Emma wants to know, where is Sammy? He did pop by earlier. If you look back on the... and Sue wants to know where Sammy is as well. Popular boy. He did pop back earlier, so if you look back on the record, he's there. Veronica wants to know, Sheamus, I think she means Sheamus, is still alive. Yeah, he's here.
Yeah, he's just out of shot. Is
he not here? Sorry, that was him a minute ago down there.
He's just there.
That's me looking at the comments. There he is. He's moved across.
We'll swap places.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, he's alive and well. We were just saying he's 21. So he's still a relatively young man, but not the baby you might remember him as from Monkey Life and Monkey Business.
Katie wants to know, do we do experience days or like learning days? We don't really do the typical kind of keeper experience days, because we, especially at this sort of time, we're hands off for the primates. We don't think it's fair. They're dangerous wild animals to have people they don't know in their houses, and for infection control and disease control, particularly pertinent at the moment. It's Sam. Hi, do we say your name? So we don't allow people sort of in with the primates, in the primates' houses, or to feed them as such. So, but we do lots of other things. You can adopt primates, you can have tours and talks, and hopefully that will give you as much learning and experience on a hands-off way.
Absolutely. In our charity, the Jim Cronin Memorial Fund, check out their website. Again, in normal time, they have some fantastic courses, primate enrichment courses, all sorts of amazing things. Of course, they've had to rearrange and postpone things at the moment, but yeah, do have a look at their website and see what they get up to as well.
Phil wants to know about chimps still being taken from the wild.
Absolutely. Yeah, unfortunately, it very much still is an issue.
Oh, we know, we're not talking to you, Sam.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you might not see them being used as photographers' props in Spain, but even as countries like Turkey, it still happens. They are being taken from the wild for entertainment, for the pet trade. The Middle East is a bit of a hot spot for young chimpanzees being kept as pets. It's so unsustainable. They never make good pets. You can kid yourself for the first couple of years that you're going to be able to keep this chimp in your house because of the similarity to a human, but you know, by even a couple of years old, you're going to be struggling to contain them, to control them. And then by 6-7 years old, that's when they start looking for an alternative, whether it's a rescue centre or a zoo that may not be equipped to care for this humanised chimpanzee. But yeah, sadly it is still a problem. And they are hunted and killed, of course, as well. They're not just removed from the wild and shipped off around the world. We estimate that for every baby that is stolen from a family group in the wild, probably around 10 adult chimpanzees are killed in the process.
Yeah, it's a horrific trade. It's very, very sad. And sadly still ongoing, which I think people just aren't really aware of, because the trade we know does move slightly, so get that out of the way, eh? When Monkey World started, it was beach photographers' props in Spain and Europe. We know now it's sort of moved to pet trade, that's more in the Middle East, and it's moved to other species as well. So we see lots of photographers' props that are now smaller, such as Loris and Gibbons, that can be put inside of jackets, but they are still being stolen from the wild and abused in that way. It's the only way of stopping it permanently. That is $1 million question, I think.
I think if people stop interacting, if people stop funding these trades, that ultimately will be the way it's going to stop. But as long as people will pay to have their photograph taken with that Loris, as long as people are buying those chips as pets. This always happens, we're talking about serious things and then you start giggling.
Sorry.
Someone's getting a bit playful. So yeah, Sammy's asking Charlie why on earth she's not, having a bit of a play with him. What's she doing?
Why I'm not here just to interact with you. I know. Oh, well, hello, handsome.
There you go. So Buxom has finally decided that he will come and show his face to somebody who asked about him earlier. He's a good boy, Sam.
Good boy. Right, sorry, I'll let you look at him. Rachel, who is the youngest chimp in this group? Shameless Sheamus.
Indeed.
Who have been the alpha males in the Bachelor group? Now the hierarchy in the Bachelors is quite an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite, hierarchies, they can be quite fluid, they can change quite a lot. So, Rich, of course, was our dominant male in this group for so long, and perhaps now, just in his later years, he's just been able to take a bit of a step back. But he still is such a high-ranking chimp that has the respect of the younger guys in here. But Paco is one of our highest-ranking. Buxom and Jester are up the top as well. But yeah, it can.
Mojo, I think, is climbing up the ranks at the moment. Yeah. And so, of course, Buxom and Jester have an alliance because they're brothers. So they can be, they're quite consistent high rankers. Butch, yeah, is taking a little bit of a step back. Paco's very high ranking as well, but he don't forget, in lots of the other groups they have, although male groups are normal in the wild, lots of the other groups, the females are the ones that sort of secure the hierarchy as well, and it's who garners favour with the females. So it's not quite as rigid as perhaps in other groups. Right, I'm going to go right to the bottom and see the questions. Keith wants to know, is Turkish Charlie still alive in this group? Yeah, Turkish Charlie came over earlier and said hello.
He's in one of his trademark spots, kind of up on one of the top beams at the moment, looking down on us.
That sounds about right.
On the platform.
Oh no, yeah, he's on the platform. Is he in shot? There he is, at the top in the platform there. Gemma wants to know, how do we know who the high-ranking animals are? Sammy, can you tell us?
So the keepers are always observing these guys and how they interact with each other. Who is, I was going to say bending the knee, but that's perhaps a little bit too... who is it who has, whether it's first pick of food, who is it that everyone else kind of lets go first? I'm explaining this in a very non-eloquent way. But they really see how who gives in to who is it who walks into the room and has the power. There's
submissive gestures that they do as well, isn't there? They often hold their hands out, and there'll be sort of bowing behaviour going on, which are both submissive gestures.
Sort of squabble out.
Yeah. So you can kind of that. Anna's just printed off the home education packs. Fantastic.
Excellent.
Glad you're enjoying them. Yes, Sam, it's good news.
If you are an adult and interested in learning more about primates, as well as having the resources on the website for the home education course, the education pack that we sell on our online gift shop is jam-packed full of really comprehensive scientific information. It's not based at like a primary school level, so if you are a higher level of education or just wanting to expand your own knowledge, it's only about $5.99 as well from the gift shop. It's a really, really good tool for learning more about primates, both in the wild, their behaviour, and our work and experience with them here at Monkey World.
Sharon, the chimp with the bent over ears is Sammy, the one who's just walking away from us now as we start talking about him. So we think Sammy came to us in 1987. He's one of the first chimps here from Spain, where he was abused as a photographer's prop, and he actually had lots of cigarette burns all over his body. So we think that's why his ears are like that, I think, which is very sad, but they don't bother him at all. And actually, considering all the abuse he's been through, is that Packet just gone to bed?
Got himself a bit of a nest sorted out in that hammock.
Despite all the abuse that Sammy's gone through, he still really likes people, which is quite amazing, really.
Mm.
Has Bart ever had a hypo due to his diabetes, and how would you recognise his symptoms? In the early days, when we were first managing it, it was quite a scary time, and there was a few areas where we were worried for his health, as we were, but now we've started managing it, and we're really on top of it. We check his blood glucose twice a day, in the morning and in the afternoon, and he has long-lasting insulin in the middle of the day, so that's how we check it. We use Operant Conditioning. I think someone actually did ask about Operant Conditioning, Annie, earlier. I asked about clicker training, if you want to run us through that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So because these guys are going to be here with us for the rest of their lives, we want to make their lives as stress-free as possible, and of course we have to look really carefully at their veterinary care and make sure every single day that they are well and happy. One of the things that our keepers do, of course, is observe them all the time. I know I've had colleagues say before, it's a bit like a parent with a child. There'll be a slight change in behaviour as well that might let you know that someone might be just a bit under the weather. In terms of operant conditioning or clicker training, it's a system of positive reinforcement and reward where the keepers will teach the primates different gestures and behaviours so they can work with them to check their health. So they'll use gestures to get them to open their mouths, and they might say mouth to go along with it. And when they do it, they hear a click from their clicker and they get a reward. So they associate that click with them doing it right, and then the reward reinforces that they've done the right behaviour. So it's absolutely amazing the things that the keepers use operant conditioning to do. So in terms of general health checks, they'll open their mouths, they'll put their chests up to the mesh, they'll put their fingers through the mesh. When they put the chests up to the mesh, the keepers then will use props to train them to get used to having a stethoscope used. They're taught to put their arms to the mesh so they can have an injection. We give all of our apes flu jabs every year, so they all need to be trained to do it. And really, really importantly, if we do need to anaesthetise someone, which isn't very common, them being able to present their arm for an injection means that we don't have to dart them, we don't have to give them that stress. And if you've watched it on Monkey Life, when you've seen the team having to dart them before being knocked down for an operation or a bit of exploration in our hospital, they duck, they dive, they move, their adrenaline's shot up, But if you just really calmly give them that injection, you know that they've had the full dose, they're not stressed, the adrenaline hasn't gone up, so you know it's going to have worked really nicely. They've even used operant conditioning, like to teach Toprish how to come outside, which is just a different method of it that I hadn't seen before, which was so interesting. So yeah, there's
really vital for Bart's care when we diagnosed him with diabetes, that he had started doing operant conditioning and he understood these things, so that we could then ask him to present his finger and accept a finger prick test twice a day. And he is such a superstar with it. He does get rewarded well for it because he is so good.
I think it only took about 2 weeks for the keepers to train Bart to present his finger and be able to give that.
And it just would have been so different, wouldn't it?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry, Sam. Am I not paying attention to you?
Stop talking about people in another group.
Sorry, mate. Hello to Sophie and Rachel. They both want to know, what is their favourite food and what do they think about the cold?
They are not fond of the cold, I think it's quite fair to say. What Sam is actually eating at the moment is a primate pellet. It's like a complete hard food that we give the guys. It's packed full of vitamins and nutrients. I think generally their favourite foods are the things with a higher sugar content. So fruit, when it's vegetables, it's things like carrots. They like the sweet things generally. Some of them love it when we use things like honey and yogurt and peanut butter in Enrichment. And we also have what we call high value food or high value reward, which might be a bit of cooked chicken, a little bit of protein. So some of you probably have seen as well when maybe someone's managed to find something they shouldn't have, our keepers will give them something that's high value to swap an item with them.
Yeah, do trades.
Yeah, in terms of the cold, some of them are don't mind it quite so much. It's very cold, but it's very dry at the moment. So when it's cold and wet, that's when it's very unlikely that you're going to see the chimps going outside. In the wet, actually, quite a lot of the guys, like the Gibbons, the woolly monkeys, the capuchins, will still come in and out. But yeah, they're not hugely fond of the cold. But it's heated to about 25 degrees or around abouts inside the houses. Sammy is just following us around.
We see you.
We see you, Sam.
We've got to look at other people as well. Good boy.
Yeah, it's about 25 degrees in the house. It's nice and hot. So even though it's cold outside, the guys have always got somewhere warm to come in. It's why if you've ever wondered why on earth our keepers walk around in shorts when it's like -1, it's because they're going in and out of very warm houses. Dorset, of course, is one of the warmest places in the UK. We've had the world's tiniest smattering of snow over the last couple of days. But it's one of the reasons why this site was chosen for Monkey World, because even in the coldest part of the year, these guys are still going outside, not all day, maybe just in small bursts, but they don't have to be confined to their inside quarters at any time of the year.
Yeah, thank you so much to everyone who's sending the stars. I am seeing them come through. Kim's just sent some. Thank you very much. And again, wow. Maureen, no, we do accept blankets, but not knitted ones. These guys have to, will have habits of sort of putting digits through and getting them stuck and things like that. So we can't have anything that they can pull apart, get their hands through and fingers through and get caught, or they can eat, so nothing with filling as well. But other blankets, sheets, towels, duvet covers, pillowcases, we do accept all of those, and that's fantastic. And we do really appreciate if you hold on to them for us as well. Amber, yeah, we've still got the lemur walk-through enclosure. It hasn't seen people go through it for about a year now.
No, it isn't far off a year, is it? Since we closed our doors for the first lockdown, and of course because there are no barriers between us and the lemurs in Malagasy, we've made the decision to keep it closed to people throughout the year, with COVID-19 still very much being here.
Yeah, Veronica has asked, and we get asked this a lot, about whether we're going to give these guys the COVID-19 vaccine. The honest answer is we're just not there yet. We're just not there. It's not as a point where it's relevant for us when it's still COVID-19 vaccine has to go through the people first. These guys are safe. We're quarantining everything from them. We're keeping them safe. We're keeping PPE and hand standards really high. As you know, they do get their flu jab every year. So that at the moment is keeping them safe and healthy. So it's not at the moment relevant to us. Let's just come down here. Aiden, age 11, would like to see Turkish Charlie, please. He's our favourite. Where is he? Let me just zoom in on him. There he is. There's the handsome boy. Having a little doze, I think. So the guys have gone outside for their breakfast. They've come back in here to a nice prepped, clean playroom with lots of food. So they've had their second breakfast. Yeah. And now just relaxing.
It's a bit of a duvet day.
Yeah.
Some of the boys
Rob wants to know, do we think we'll be open in May? I hope so. But that is all we can do at the moment is hope.
We'd love to say yes, but of course we're taking each day as it comes at the moment.
Hi, you handsome old man. I'm talking to Butch there before anyone gets offended.
Not picking someone.
Yes. Julie, do they sleep 8 hours and do they have night terrors like us?
Oh, God. Do you know, I don't know about dreaming or nightmares or night I would imagine they probably do dream. Most animals do dream. But they generally sleep when it's dark. They go to bed as it gets dark and they get up as it gets light. So, yeah, perhaps they sleep a bit more in the winter. If you can hear knocking, it's Sammy on the other side. Going to go, come on over. Come over here, Sam. Come and talk to us here.
Here he comes. He is coming over. So That's very obedient.
So when the park shuts at 5 o'clock most of the year round, that's it. You might just start to see the guys going to bed. If you've ever been to any of the JCMF sleepovers or events in the evening, you would have been lucky enough, or if you visited when Father Christmas has come to Monkey World, you'd have seen that they kind of make their beds as it's getting dark, and the keepers, when they're in at about 8 o'clock, the sun will be up, the guys will be getting up and around. So yeah, I'd imagine it is about 8 hours they probably sleep for.
Ella wants to know how the Bachelor Gibbons are getting on together. Ella, we miss you coming to the park. We miss your photos, by the way. Bachelor Gibbons, they've not been together for a good while.
I don't think so, no, because we've got Mikado and Tio are both
in the
both up at the
main house, and Zach moved over to be with Tia Nang in France when we brought Mikado back.
Yeah, so giving both those boys, Tio and Mikado, bit of space that they want on the moment. They're preferring having their independence from each other. Of course, they're up at the complex where they can still see each other and interact with each other. But yeah, not living together at the moment.
And Tio is, I think, growing by the minute. He is looking really big at the moment. He's huge. Right, I'm going to go back to the bottom. If I haven't answered any of your... Oh, Claudia, are you okay? You might be leaning on your keyboard. Hi to everyone who is coming through. If you've asked a question, we haven't answered it, send it again now and we'll try and just stay at the bottom and answer the questions really quickly. Zena, they drink all through the day. We have big water drinkers for them available. They sort of go through the mesh on the outside, so they do drink water through the day. Sharon thinks she might mean the Woolies. The Bachelor Woolies are doing really well. They're all in a group together now. Alison sort of mentioned it from the video the other day. So those six are now all together inside and outside. They're doing very well. Okay, I answered that really quickly, thinking we were going to get a flurry of questions, and it's just slowed down. So, any more questions?
Thank you. All these reactions coming through is lovely. Know that we've been nice. We've stayed with you the whole time, it seems, as well. No technical hitches. Yeah. This is where it will happen now. Sarah James asked, do they have birth control? The guys in here, these are all boys. This is an all-male group, so we don't have to worry about any unplanned pregnancies in here. But yes, we do use birth control around the park. A lot of our monkeys, the males have had vasectomies, and we've got other groups where females are on the pill. We're a rescue centre, so we want to save as much space as we possibly can for more who we can rescue. There are select instances where we do breed, so our woolly monkeys we breed, and our Bengal slow loris we allow to breed, but yeah.
Ruth wants to know, can chimps suffer from IBS? I expect so. We do give these guys a probiotic to keep their gut health nice and healthy, get bacteria nice and healthy and keep that feeling well. We know that some of our orangutan infants are sort of gluten intolerant, lactose intolerant. We have to have special milk for them. So I very much suspect that they can, but I'm not sure that we'd.
But yeah, as best to my knowledge, I don't think we would say that any of our guys do currently have IBS.
Yeah. But as they're so similar to us, it is likely that they do. Let me get back. I've said I'll go through them really quickly, and we've lost a few. what are the names of the monkeys in this group? There's 14 of them. They're all listed on the website. So this is the Bachelor boys, or this is listed. When will we move a chimp on from the Bachelor group? We wouldn't do that unless we really needed to, Gary. These guys are all quite happy and settled, so if we don't need to move them around, we don't. If the group dynamics are working well, they don't really. There's not a group they graduate from, like you're maybe thinking of perhaps our nursery groups where they graduate and go into an adult group. This isn't that. This is their adult family group, so we keep it settled.
A lot of our groups are really well established as well. In earlier episodes of Monkey Business, the dynamics shifted a lot as lots and lots of chimps were coming from Spain from the photography trade, whereas a lot of these guys have been in these established groups for a long time now. So yeah, there's not really any issues to move them around.
Becky wants to know when is Jess's 40th birthday. His birthday is at the end of December the 28th. 28th, yes, I've looked at the sign. So it will be at the end of this year. Does his skin condition cause him much discomfort? He gets treated for that quite often, so he has like an eczema-like condition, so the guys have to moisturise them. Again, if you look back on the YouTube or old Facebook videos, we've got Jane moisturising Jester and showing how we use operant conditioning to do that as well. So we manage that in that way. Thank you for the stars, Kezia. Right, okay, I'm still trying to do them quick fire, but I've missed some already.
I'm rubbish at quick fire questions because I waffle.
Annie has too much information to give. Deborah, Jimmy's doing really well. I think he is just at the top still on the left-hand side there. Oh no, I've got some.
So someone had just asked if we ever had any bonobos at Monkey World. No, we've never had any bonobos here at the park. We just haven't ever been asked to rescue them or been involved in their rescue.
How do we decide, Jen wants to know, how do we decide what group a chimp would go into when first coming to the park? Really good question. It depends on the group dynamics we have, the type of chimp that's coming in, if it's a boy, if it's a girl, how old, how young it is, its background, where we've got room at the park at the moment, any special needs or special requirements that chimp has. So there's lots and lots of different factors. There is no hard and fast rule to that one. Will we limit and slowly increase the amount of public allowed in? Yeah, probably, Martin. We'll probably do the same as we did last time. So we'll have time ticket sessions to try and get the flow around the park safe, to keep everybody safe when they're here. Charlotte, who's 7, wants to know, how do you become a keeper? Lots of hard work, lots of animal care. Annie did answer this a little bit earlier, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but do just have a little rewind and have a listen to that. So lots of experience with animals, cleaning, food prep. Tell her she's got to get in the kitchen chopping veg with you. Do you have any babies in the park at the moment? We've got our young woolly monkeys, so they're one of the only species we breed, Sarah. The youngest is Catalina or Esmeralda? Esmeralda. I think she was July.
I think she was October.
Is she later than that? Goodness, this year's not shot by, sorry.
Catalina was around the time of our COVID-friendly wedding.
Right, okay. So, yeah, under a year old. So we've got some woolly monkeys that are under a year old.
That was a wedding at the park, not mine and Charlie's.
Yeah. How do we introduce new ones without having fights? Sarah wants to know. We have our back bedrooms all set up specifically for introductions. So the park here is, because we do have lots of introductions through rescues, we have organised and designed our enclosures specifically for that. So they can meet through the mesh. We can introduce a few individuals at a time without one chimp going into a group of 14 and it being a free-for-all. Does Sheamus wind up anyone in particular in here? Phil wants to know.
I don't know if there's anyone in particular who winds up. I think he's quite a good boy, really. He's a bit silly and he's a bit daft, but I don't think he causes too much trouble for any of the older boys in the group.
No, I'd agree. I think he probably tries to wind up us more than the other guys in here. He's quite respectful of his elders.
Slightly more mature than he was.
Yeah.
Jumping up and down on Rodders and Brian when they were all in the nursery together. Yeah. Perhaps learned that there are bigger chimps than him now as well.
Bigger fish in that pond. Have the deer been around to visit the Bachelor boys again lately? Yeah, we had a little spate where we had lots of deer around the park. They're still in the woodlands around us, but we don't see so many coming through the middle of the park now, which is much safer for our guys. Marie wants to know, why don't we have any gorillas at the park?
So we've just never been asked to rescue any, which is generally kind of the easy answer to why we don't have any particular species. Gorillas, as you know, are of course critically endangered, some of the most endangered primates in the world, but they don't tend to be used for the pet trade or entertainment industry in the same way as chimps, orangutans and some of the smaller primates. Sadly, they are just hunted and killed.
Yeah, and they're very popular with zoos as well, so any gorillas that often are in need of a home will be snapped up by zoos, and we'll go to other places that already have gorillas too. We wouldn't just take one on its own, which would just not be a very nice life for it as well. Becky wants to know, which two chimps in this group have the closest bond?
Oh, that's a nice question. I suppose my automatic thought is Buxom and Jester, because they're brothers. They've been together for their entire lives, as far as I'm aware. They've got a really close allegiance and bond within the group. They're very close.
Thank you for someone who's just sent stars. I've just lost my comments. Kira wants to know, are there any new chimps coming to the park? We don't really discuss new rescues. It's always political situations going on and very delicate things going on there. So you need to sign up to our adoptive parent scheme and become an adoptive parent and get our newsletters, and then you'll be the first to know if we do have any new arrivals at the park. Right. Any more? Sorry, 1 second. Oh my goodness, there's lots coming in again. I thought we were going to round it up, but there's lots coming in. Will there be any more groups of chimps planned, like extension of the park? Only if we need to. We don't sort of build gratuitously. So we don't plan an extension and try and fill it with chimps. It'll be if there's lots of guys that come in that we'd have to build new housing. Vicky wants to know, why does Paquito seem to have an obsession with hats? Do you know?
Yeah, lots of the chimps have different gestures and things that they do. It's quite often it's something that's a hangover from when they were kept as pets by people. They've been taught gestures and things that they haven't forgotten really, which is why we ask you when you're at the park to try not to mimic them, if they are tapping their heads and things, to just ignore it. We just don't want to try and encourage those behaviours that have come from them being humanised and exploited in the past. But yeah, he does seem to focus on headgear a little bit. Yeah,
and he's funny. He likes socks as well. He gets very excited about oat porridge. So some of them are just a little bit neurotic, and it is probably from the abuse they've had in their earlier years. Di wants to know, how are all the staff at the park? That's very sweet, Di.
We're great. Thanks, Di.
Are we at capacity, or do we always try and make room? From Rachel.
When Charlie was answering the question earlier about the kind of checklist almost to decide where a new primate is going to go. There maybe are some species, some enclosures, some groups where we might not add any more individuals into, but that might not be the case for others. We talk so much about the pet trade, which is such a big issue here in the UK. That's why we have such a big waiting list, because we do not want to overcrowd the rescued primates that we have here. And as Charlie said, we have to try and use our money wisely as a self-funding rescue centre. So when we can expand and build more enclosures and bring more primates to the park, we will. Yeah.
Andrew wants to know, are we making any more new TV shows? Andrew, series 13 of Monkey Life has just finished. It's just finished on Sky Nature. It's all still available and on demand if you can have a look there. And on Sunday at 7 p.m. on Sky Nature, we've got an hour-long special starting called The Orange Hooligans, all about the orangutan nursery here at the park. And we've got 2 more specials called Little Monsters and A Woolly Tale. So you can work out what they're about. And they're coming up the following Sundays as well. So that is all on Sky Nature. Everyone asked if Monkey Life will be on PIC. It will be at some point. We just haven't been told the dates by Sky yet. We will let you know as soon as we know. Any more? I think that's around it now, guys. So we'll let you go. Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you've learnt something about our boys and our chimps here at the park. If you do do your the worksheets, thank you. If you do the worksheets and design enclosures or do any of the chimp activities there. Send them in to us. We love to see them, and we will share them all on our page as well. If you've enjoyed this video and you'd like to support us, you can send us stars. There is an option at the bottom, as you in the comment box, I believe it pops up to send Monkey World stars. That relates to real life cash for us here at the park to help keep these guys going while we are close to the public. I know, Charlie, that's a very big yawn. And will help us keep these guys living their lives of luxury here at the park. There are obviously other ways to adopt. If you want to support us by adopting and you would like to adopt for Valentine's Day, today I think is the last day to get an adoption in for Valentine's Day. So if you would like to adopt, call the ladies in the office today. Thank you for the stars, Wendy. I can see them coming in. 3-week streak. Superstar. So yeah, call the offices, the ladies in the office. They're here. They're waiting to take your calls today. They can get that adoption sorted for you and out in the post today. And that should hopefully then get to you in time for Valentine's Day. Or go online on our website. They will be processed, but it would need to be done today, really. Really nice gift. You get 3 newsletters, a photo, a certificate, and an annual entry pass to the park as well. Our Amazon wish list's up and running. We're taking blanket donations now, if anyone's else able to send us some down.
We've had some lovely
Supermarket deliveries, yes.
from people recently, which are hugely appreciated.
Thank you. I've just seen a comment saying, Diane saying they look as bored as the rest of us. They've just come in and had a snooze, to be honest with you. I think a lot of people will come in, like, when we're busy at home, we eat, we drink, we relax. These guys are the same. So they're just having a relaxing time together. I don't think they're bored as such. Anyway, we will leave you a bit. Thank you very much, Annie.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in today. Like Charlie said, please send us any examples of your enrichment designs, any of your work, if you want a Zoom tour, if we can do anything at all for you during lockdown, please email us, either email me at education@monkeyworld.org, email apes@monkeyworld.org, or give us a call on our main number. Thank you so much for your support, everybody, and for tuning in, and we will see you again soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.